Girlfriend sold my dog because I gave him more attention than her, so I went scorched earth and left her with nothing. I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. For context, 3 years ago, I met Max, my dog, under the worst possible circumstances. He was limping behind my old apartment complex, looking like life had given up on him. He was nothing but skin and bones, his fur matted with dirt, and he had a busted leg that looked like it had been that way for a while. He was abandoned, starving, and barely holding on. I didn't even think twice. I took him in, got him cleaned up, and rushed him to the vet. The news wasn't great. His leg was too damaged to be saved, and the only way forward was amputation. It was a tough decision, but I wasn't about to let him suffer. With the vet's advice, I went through with the surgery, and from that day on, Max became my best friend. Losing a leg didn't slow him down. If anything, it made him stronger. He learned to move, to run, to adapt, just like he had to in order to survive before I found him. And through everything, he never lost his spirit. He was there for me in ways I didn't even realize I needed. Whenever I had a rough day, he was there, resting his head on my lap like he could sense when I needed him most. When life threw problems my way, he was always a constant, always waiting by the door when I got home. I didn't think anything could break that bond. Then along came Claire. Claire, 26F, and I started dating about a year ago. At first things were great. She was fun, outgoing, and we had a lot in common. She wasn't a huge dog person, but she didn't make a big deal out of it, and I figured she just needed time to warm up to Max. At first, she tolerated him, maybe even found him cute in her own way, but as the months went on, her attitude shifted. What started as mild indifference slowly became something else entirely. It was the little things at first, her rolling her eyes whenever he tried to sit between us on the couch, her groaning whenever he barked when she came over. I ignored it, thinking she'd adjust. But then the complaints started. She didn't like how much time I spent with him. She didn't like that I'd cut plans short if Max needed something. She hated that I spent money on his vet visits instead of taking her out to fancier places. And she definitely didn't like that he always seemed to come first. I thought she was joking when she first said, "I swear you love that dog more than me." She wasn't. It wasn't just jealousy, it was resentment. Every time I did anything for Max, she took it personally, like it was some kind of insult to her. If I took him on a long walk, she'd make snide comments about how I should be spending that time with her instead. If I stayed home with him instead of going out to one of her last-minute dinner plans, she'd sulk and accuse me of picking a dog over my own girlfriend. It escalated fast. She started refusing to come over unless I put Max outside. She wouldn't even sit next to me if he was in the room. She'd make faces whenever I talked about him and started pushing this idea that I was obsessed, that it was weird to be so attached to an animal. I made one thing very clear: Max wasn't going anywhere. Apparently, she decided that was a problem. It had been a long day at work, a brutal back-to-back shift that left me drained and just wanting to go home, collapse on the couch, and spend the evening with Max. That was all I needed. That was my routine. Except when I opened the door, something felt off. The apartment was quiet, too quiet. Normally, Max would be there before I even got my shoes off, wagging his tail, excitedly hopping around, waiting for me to greet him. But there was nothing, no sound, no movement. His bed? Gone. His bowls? Gone. His favorite stuffed fox, the one he carried everywhere? Gone. And then I saw Claire sitting there, lounging on the couch, scrolling through her phone like everything was normal. I asked where Max was. Her response? She sold him. I thought I misheard her. I thought there was no way she actually just said what I thought she did, but when I asked again, she acted like I was the crazy one, like it was no big deal. She even had the audacity to act smug about it, told me I should be thanking her, that I was always putting him before her, so she solved the problem. Said some guy paid $200 for him. I swear I saw red. I don't even remember exactly what I said, but I do remember grabbing my keys, walking out, and slamming the door so hard a picture fell off the wall. Because in that moment, I knew two things for certain. 1. Claire was out of her mind if she thought she could just do this and get away with it. 2. I am going to get Max back, no matter what it takes. I didn't sleep last night. I stayed at my friend's house because I think if I had tried to talk to her or tell her to leave, I would be behind bars right now. I barely thought straight. All I knew was that my dog, my best friend, was out there somewhere, confused, scared, wondering why I wasn't there. I've been looking but still nothing. I just needed to vent this here. Edit. I didn't expect this to blow up the way it did. I've been reading through the comments and I appreciate all the support and advice. Right now, I'm staying at a friend's place while I figure out my next move and keep looking for Max. It's been a long day and I still don't have any leads, but I'm not stopping until I get him back. Claire has been blowing up my phone since I left, sending a mix of angry and defensive messages. At first, she was acting like she did me a favor, saying I was too obsessed with Max and that this was for my own good. When that didn't get a response, she switched to guilt tripping, trying to play the victim, claiming I was overreacting and that I needed to let this go. That eventually turned into full-on insults, calling me selfish and pathetic for choosing a dog over her. Now she's gone completely silent. I don't know if that means she's feeling guilty, trying to cover her tracks, or just hoping I'll give up. But I don't care. My only priority is finding Max. I've also seen a few comments questioning parts of the story, so I want to clear some things up. Some people asked how Claire could have sold Max so quickly. The truth is, I don't know exactly how she did it, but I wouldn't put it past her to already have had something lined up. She's always been impulsive, but when she decides she wants something gone, she makes it happen fast. I wouldn't be surprised if she had already looked into places to sell him before actually going through with it. A few people also asked why I didn't call the police immediately. The simple answer is that I panicked. When I walked into my apartment and realized Max was gone, my first instinct was to get answers from Claire. She made it clear she didn't care and wasn't going to help, and after that, I was just focused on trying to track him down. I do plan on getting law enforcement involved if I can't find him soon, especially since he's chipped in my name, but right now, I'm using every other option I have to locate him first. Others questioned why I let Claire stay in my apartment if she hated Max so much. I guess I didn't fully process how deep her resentment ran. She didn't like him, sure, but I never thought she'd actually do something like this. I thought she was just being dramatic when she complained about him, not that she saw him as an actual problem that needed to be solved. I was obviously wrong. For now, my main focus is finding Max. I'll update when I know more, but I'm not giving up until I bring him home. Update 1. Here with an update. I was on a mission to get Max back, but I had no idea where Claire sold him. But she wasn't going to tell me. She had already made it clear she didn't care about what she did. If anything, she probably thought I would just accept it and move on. That wasn't happening, so I started by checking every pet-selling website I could think of. Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, adoption groups, anywhere she could have posted a dog for sale. I scrolled through dozens of listings, but nothing matched. I widened my search to surrounding areas, even messaging a few sellers just in case she used someone else to make the sale. Nothing. That's when I called every local shelter and rescue group in the area. If whoever bought him had second thoughts or noticed something was off, they might have surrendered him. I told them all to keep an eye out for a 3-legged German Shepherd mix, explaining that he was stolen. Some were sympathetic, but most told me the same thing. Without proof, there wasn't much they could do. I wasn't giving up. It wasn't until I joined a Lost Pets Facebook group that I got my first lead. I made a post with Max's picture, explaining the situation, and asking if anyone had seen a dog like him recently posted for sale. It didn't take long for someone to comment. A woman mentioned that she had seen a listing the day before, but couldn't find it anymore. She remembered because she thought it was odd that a 3-legged dog was being rehomed so suddenly. She didn't remember the details, but she did remember the general area the seller was from. That gave me somewhere to start. Then I remembered something important. Max was microchipped in my name. If the new owner tried to update his records, the vet would see it. I called Max's vet and explained the situation. They couldn't give me personal details, but I asked them to flag his microchip as stolen in case anyone brought him in. That turned out to be the break I needed. A day later, I got a call from a vet clinic in a nearby town. Someone had contacted them asking about medical records for a recently adopted dog. The receptionist couldn't say much, but she confirmed they had asked about a 3-legged German Shepherd mix. That was all I needed. I went straight to searching pet adoption groups in that town. It didn't take long to find a post from someone talking about their new rescue dog. The picture? Maximum. He looked confused in the photo, like he didn't understand what was happening. I messaged the guy immediately. I didn't go in aggressive. I just explained that Max had been stolen and that I had proof he was mine. At first, he was defensive, saying he had bought the dog fair and square. But once I sent pictures, vet records, and proof of his microchip, he realized the truth. He had no idea he had bought a stolen dog. To his credit, he agreed to meet up without a fight. He just wanted to do the right thing. When I finally saw Max again, he was hesitant at first, probably wondering what was happening now, but the second I called his name, his ears perked up and he came running. The moment he realized it was me, his tail started wagging like crazy and he practically jumped into my arms. I've brought him to my friend's place for now. I'm getting Claire out of my place first, and she has no idea what is about to hit her. Update 2. After getting Max back, I knew I wasn't done. I wasn't the kind of person to just move on and let things slide, not after something like this. Claire had crossed a line that couldn't be ignored, selling my dog like he was a piece of furniture because she felt neglected. That wasn't something I could ever forgive. I wasn't just going to kick her out, I was going to make sure she felt the consequences of what she did. I went back to the apartment one last time, not to argue or hear her excuses, but to get her out of my life for good. She was still acting like nothing had happened, like she hadn't just ripped my best friend away and expected me to be fine with it. I wasn't going to waste my breath explaining anything to her. I had already made up my mind. The lease was in my name. I had let her stay with me out of convenience, but that was over. She had 24 hours to get out, and I made sure she knew I wasn't bluffing. I had already called the landlord, and if she tried to stay past the deadline, I would have the cops remove her. She didn't take it well. She went from confused to furious in seconds, acting like she was the victim. She tried to argue, saying she had nowhere to go. But that wasn't my problem. She had made her choice when she decided that her jealousy was more important than my dog. She started screaming at me, demanding I be reasonable, that I was ruining her life over a dog, but I wasn't done yet. While she was still processing the fact that I was kicking her out, I started cutting off every little thing she had taken advantage of. The credit card she used that was linked to my account, canceled. The Netflix, Spotify, and every other subscription she mooched off me, gone. The Amazon account she had been ordering things through, locked her out immediately. Then I went further. She had been using my money for a lot of things, thinking I wouldn't notice. I went through everything, taking back anything I had paid for. Clothes, electronics, anything she had that wasn't hers before she moved in with me. I packed it up. If I couldn't take it back, I trashed it. Then came the best part. The money she made from selling Max? I found it sitting in an envelope on the counter like she hadn't even bothered to spend it yet. I took every last dollar back. If she thought she was going to profit off what she did, she was dead wrong. She lost it, screaming, crying, threatening to call the police, saying I had no right to take her stuff. But I had already thought of that. I beat her to it and called the cops myself. When they showed up, I calmly explained that she had stolen and sold my registered microchipped dog without my consent. I even had proof from the vet, screenshots of the online post, and messages with the guy who bought Max. The cops didn't arrest her, but they did tell her that what she did could be considered theft, and that I had every right to pursue charges. They also made it clear that she had no claim to stay in the apartment. She tried to argue, but it was useless. The lease was in my name, the utilities were in my name, and now she had nothing left to hold on to. By the next day, she was gone. I didn't hear from her directly after that, but mutual friends started reaching out, saying she was telling everyone that I had ruined her life. She was struggling to find a place to stay since she couldn't afford rent on her own. She even lost her job after missing too many shifts. She had been calling in sick left and right, probably assuming I would keep covering for her expenses. But I don't care. She deserved every bit of it. She had tried to take something from me that couldn't be replaced, and in return, I made sure she had nothing. Max is back where he belongs now, finally home safe, and that is all that matters to me. Final update. It's been a few months since everything went down, and honestly, I've never been happier. Max is doing great, completely unaware of how close he was to being taken from me for good. The first couple of days after getting him back, he was a little confused, probably wondering why he had been moved around so much. But once he settled in, it was like nothing had ever happened. He's still the same happy, loving dog he always was, and if anything, I'm even more protective of him now. Claire, on the other hand, well, let's just say life didn't work out the way she thought it would. Right after I kicked her out, she struggled to keep up with rent on her own. She had been relying on me financially more than I realized, and with her credit cards cut off, her subscriptions gone, and no access to my money, she had to figure things out fast. She tried couch surfing with friends for a while, but that didn't last long. Eventually, she ended up moving back in with her parents, who weren't too thrilled about it. The best part? She actually thought she could keep playing the victim. She told anyone who would listen that I had overreacted and ruined her life over just a dog. She tried spinning it like she had been doing me a favor, like selling Max was some kind of wake-up call for me to prioritize our relationship. Of course, no one really bought into that. Even some of her closest friends told me later that they couldn't believe she had done something so heartless. At one point, she reached out, probably thinking enough time had passed for me to cool down. She sent some long-winded message about how she regretted how things ended, that she missed me, and that we should talk. She didn't apologize for selling Max. She didn't admit she was wrong. It was just a weak attempt to slide back into my life, like she hadn't completely destroyed any trust I ever had in her. I didn't bother responding, just blocked her and moved on. I haven't heard from her since, but every now and then, I'll hear bits and pieces from mutual friends. She lost her job a while back after missing too many days. She had been calling in sick constantly, and eventually, her boss got fed up and let her go. She's been bouncing between part-time gigs ever since, and last I heard, she's still living at home, trying to figure out what to do next. Meanwhile, my life has only gotten better. After everything, I decided I needed a fresh start. I moved into a new apartment, one that's a lot more dog-friendly than the last place. I even started working from home a few days a week so I could spend more time with Max. I've also been more careful about who I let into my life. The whole situation made me realize how blind I had been to red flags, how easily I had let someone manipulate me into thinking I was the problem. Never again. If there's one thing I've learned from all of this, it's that the right people in your life will never make you choose between them and the things that make you happy. The second someone starts acting like your happiness is a threat to theirs, they're not worth keeping around. And as for Max, he's curled up next to me right now, snoring away like he doesn't have a care in the world. He's safe, he's loved, and he'll never have to worry about being taken from me again. Claire made me choose, and I did. I chose the one who never betrayed me. Edit. First off, I want to thank everyone here for the incredible support. Honestly, I didn't expect this post to get so much attention, but the feedback and advice have been a lifesaver. I've spent the last few days reading through your comments, and it's been overwhelming in the best way possible. Some of you offered suggestions, while others just shared their own experiences, and it's helped me process everything better than I could have on my own. So, thank you again for that. I'll be honest, it still feels strange being away from everything, but it's been good to get out of that toxic environment and start over. On a brighter note, yes, I've met someone new. Her name is Gabby, and we're taking things slow. After everything that happened with Claire, I'm being extremely cautious this time. I've learned that I need to be more discerning and not rush into things based on surface-level attraction. Gabby is great, and we're enjoying each other's company without putting too much pressure on the situation. It's a relief to meet someone who actually respects boundaries and understands the importance of taking time to get to know each other without jumping into anything too quickly. I noticed some people were still unclear about some aspects of my story, so I want to clarify a few things. One thing I've seen mentioned multiple times is why I stayed with Claire for so long. It's something I've reflected on a lot, and I'll admit that I ignored red flags early on because I didn't want to believe that things weren't as perfect as I thought. I wanted to make it work so badly that I overlooked behavior that was clearly manipulative and controlling. I also think there's a tendency to give people the benefit of the doubt, especially when you're emotionally attached. But in hindsight, I wish I had trusted my gut sooner and walked away. A few people questioned the timeline of events and felt like there were some missing pieces. I understand how it could seem disjointed, but everything I wrote happened over a period of some time, and I didn't realize just how much I was leaving out until after I posted. I didn't mean to cause confusion, and I apologize if it made things harder to follow. The key takeaway here is that I didn't recognize the seriousness of the situation until I was too deep in it, which is part of why I'm now trying to be more open and honest with myself about the mistakes I made. As for Claire's actions, I still don't have a clear answer. I can only guess what her true intentions were, but I'm done speculating. The main point is that I finally opened my eyes to what was happening, and now it's just about moving forward. I realize that some of you thought I should have confronted her sooner, and while I understand that perspective, sometimes it's hard to see things for what they are when you're emotionally invested. In the end, I learned the hard way, and I'm making sure I don't repeat the same mistakes again. Thanks again to everyone who shared their thoughts. Your kindness, advice, and support have meant more to me than I can express. It feels like I'm finally getting a fresh start, and it's all thanks to the help of people here who took the time to listen.